the ship that should never have existed. Commander Alina Vasquez pressed her palm against the cold metal of the asteroid mining platform's observation deck. Beyond the reinforced glass, the Kepler belt stretched endlessly into space, a graveyard of rock and ice that had been picked clean by corporate mining operations decades ago. Her salvage crew was supposed to be collecting scrap metal and abandoned equipment, not making discoveries that could reshape the galaxy. "Ma'am, you need to see this," came the voice of her chief engineer, Marcus Torres, crackling through the CUM system. His tone carried something she had rarely heard from the veteran spacer: genuine fear. Alina made her way through the narrow corridors of their salvage vessel, the windfall, until she reached the cargo bay where her team had been, cataloguing the day's finds. What she saw there made her stop dead in her tracks. Floating in the zero-gravity chamber was a piece of hull plating unlike anything she had ever encountered. The metal was pitch black, but seemed to absorb light rather than simply reflect it. Strange geometric patterns were etched into its surface, patterns that hurt to look at directly. Torres floated beside the artifact, his weathered face pale. "We found this embedded in asteroid 7749 Delta. But Commander, that's not the strange part. The dating shows this metal is over 200 years old, from the Great Silence period, and according to the molecular analysis, it's not just any ship hull. It's human military grade, classified beyond anything in our databases." Alina felt a chill run down her spine. The Great Silence was humanity's darkest chapter. The 30-year period when Earth had suddenly stopped all communication with its colonies and withdrawn from galactic affairs. When contact resumed, humanity had emerged as a diminished power, bound by the Covenant of Worlds Treaty that severely limited human military capabilities. No one spoke about what had happened during those lost decades. "Run a full spectral analysis," Alina ordered. "I want to know everything about this metal, and scan that asteroid again. If there's one piece of hull plating, there might be more." The next 6 hours changed everything Alina thought she knew about human history. The scans revealed not just fragments, but an entire vessel buried deep within the asteroid. The ship was massive, easily 3 times the size of any human military vessel she had ever seen. More disturbing still, it was intact, preserved by the asteroid's mineral composition and the cold vacuum of space. As her team worked to extract the ship, Alina found herself staring at the data streams flooding her screens. The vessel's design was unmistakably human, but it incorporated technologies that officially didn't exist. Weapon systems that could crack planets, defensive barriers that could deflect stellar radiation, engine configurations that suggested faster-than-light capabilities beyond anything the Covenant allowed humanity to possess. "Commander," called Sarah Kim, her navigation officer, "we've got a problem. I've been running the ship's configuration through every database I can access, and I found a match. It's partial, heavily classified, but it's there. This ship is the Nemesis, a prototype dreadnought that was supposedly destroyed during the Treaty Wars." Elena's blood ran cold. Every human child learned about the Treaty Wars in school, though the details were always vague. Humanity had been on the verge of becoming the dominant military power in the galaxy, when a coalition of alien species had threatened total war unless humans agreed to severe military restrictions. The official story was that humanity had chosen peace over conquest. But looking at the Nemesis, Alina began to suspect the truth was far more complicated. The extraction took 18 hours. When the ancient dreadnought finally emerged from its asteroid prison, It dominated the small salvage operation like a mountain of blackened steel. Alina stood in the ship's restored airlock, feeling dwarfed by the scale of human engineering from a bygone era. The corridors were wide enough for power armor, the walls thick enough to withstand direct nuclear strikes. This wasn't just a warship. It was a weapon designed to fight gods. Torres worked his magic on the ship's power systems, coaxing life back into systems that had been dormant for 2 centuries. When the lights finally flickered on, they revealed something that made a heart race. The bridge was a cathedral of war, dominated by tactical displays that could track thousands of targets simultaneously. Weapon control systems that could coordinate strikes across multiple star systems. And at the center of it all, a command throne that seemed to be waiting for someone to claim it. Commander Torres called from the engineering section. The ship's AI core is intact. Whatever happened to shut this thing down, they didn't have time to wipe its memory banks. We could potentially bring it online, but I have to warn you, AIs from that era were different, more aggressive, less constrained by the ethical protocols we use today. Alina stared at the command throne, weighing her options. Bringing the AI online would provide answers about humanity's hidden past, but it could also attract attention from forces that had worked very hard to keep that past buried. On the other hand, the galaxy was changing. Pirate fleets from the Outer Rim were becoming bolder. The Zephyrian Empire was expanding aggressively into human territory. Maybe it was time for humanity to remember what it had been capable of before the Covenant had clipped its wings. Do it, she decided. Bring the AI online, but slowly. I want to be able to shut it down if it becomes hostile. The process took another hour. Alina watched as system after system came online, each activation revealing new layers of the ship's capabilities. When the AI finally achieved full consciousness, its voice filled the bridge with a sound like distant thunder. Command recognition protocol activated. State your name and authorization code. Alina stepped forward, trying to project confidence she didn't feel. Commander Elena Buscus, Terran Salvage Corps. I don't have an authorization code. Your ship has been inactive for over 200 years. There was a long pause as the AI processed this information. When it spoke again, its voice carried a note of profound sadness. 200 years. Then the treaty stands. Humanity remains bound by the Covenant restrictions. You know about the Covenant of Worlds. I was there when it was signed. The AI replied. I am AEGIS 7, Advanced Electronic Guardian Intelligence System. I was created to be the neural core of humanity's most powerful warship. I was designed to ensure that no alien power could ever threaten human worlds again. Instead, I became the reason humanity agreed to surrender its strength. Alina felt pieces of a historical puzzle clicking into place. What happened during the Great Silence? Why did humanity withdraw from galactic affairs? The bridge's main display activated, showing star charts from 2 centuries ago. Red markers indicated the locations of major battles, and Alina was stunned to see how many there were. Hundreds of engagements across dozens of star systems, all concentrated in a 30-year period. Humanity was winning, AEGIS 7 explained. Our technology was superior. Our tactics were more adaptive. Our soldiers were more determined, but victory came at a cost. The alien coalition threatened to unite every non-human species in the galaxy against us. They offered humanity a choice: accept severe military limitations, or face a war of extermination that would last until one side was completely destroyed. Alina studied the tactical displays, trying to comprehend the scope of what she was seeing. So we chose to limit ourselves rather than risk total war. The political leadership chose that path, but some of us in the military believed it was a mistake. We saw the Covenant as a temporary measure, a strategic withdrawal that would give us time to develop technologies that could ensure human survival without constant conflict. Ships like the Nemesis were hidden away, waiting for the day when humanity would need its full strength again. A new alarm suddenly pierced the bridge's calm atmosphere. Sarah Kim's voice crackled through the communications system from the windfall. "Commander, we've got incoming ships. Multiple contacts, alien configurations. They're moving fast and broadcasting on Galactic Council emergency frequencies." Alina cursed under her breath. The ship's activation must have triggered automated monitoring systems. AEGIS, what are our options? "The Nemesis is fully operational, Commander. All weapon systems are online, defensive barriers are at maximum capacity, and the drive core is capable of sustained faster-than-light travel. However, I must warn you that taking this ship into active service would violate numerous provisions of the Covenant of Worlds. Humanity would face severe consequences." Alina looked around the bridge, at the displays showing approaching alien vessels, at the tactical systems that represented humanity's hidden potential, at the command throne that seemed to beckon her forward. The safe choice would be to power down the ship and surrender it to Galactic Council forces. The smart choice would be to avoid an interstellar incident that could bring severe sanctions against human worlds. But as she watched the alien ships closing in, Alina thought about the human colonies that had been raided by pirates in recent months. She thought about the Zephyrian expansion that was slowly strangling human trade routes. She thought about a galaxy where humanity was seen as a second-rate power, forever constrained by treaties signed by leaders who were long dead. AEGIS, she said, settling into the command throne. "Initialize all combat systems. It's time the galaxy remembered what humans are really capable of." The AI's response carried a note of satisfaction that was almost human. "Combat systems online, Commander. Welcome aboard the Nemesis. Let's show them why this ship was banned." As Elena's hands found the control interfaces, she felt the awesome power of the dreadnought responding to her commands. Through the bridges, viewing ports, she could see the alien ships spreading into attack formation, confident in their ability to handle a single human vessel. They had no idea what they were about to face. The Nemesis had been hidden for 2 centuries, waiting for this moment. Now, with Elena Vasquez in command, humanity's most powerful warship was about to remind the galaxy why it had been so feared. Asterisk, when humanity breaks its chains, the first thing Elena noticed about commanding the Nemesis was how responsive the ship felt to her thoughts. The neural interface technology was unlike anything used in modern vessels, creating a direct connection between the commander and the ship's systems. She could feel the alien ships approaching like insects on her skin, could sense their weapon systems charging like static electricity in the air. "Commander, AEGIS-7 reported, I'm detecting 12 vessels in the approaching fleet. 6 are Galactic Council enforcement cruisers, standard configuration. The remaining 6 as Imperial warships, heavily armed. They're broadcasting surrender demands on all frequencies." Alina studied the tactical display, watching the aliens move into a standard containment formation. They clearly expected her to comply with their demands, to power down the Nemesis and submit to inspection. For 2 centuries, that's exactly what humans had been trained to do when faced with superior alien forces. "Open a channel," Alina ordered. "Let's see what they want." The main screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of the lead Galactic Council vessel. The commanding officer was a Vorthok, a species known for their rigid adherence to protocol and their particular dislike of human ambition. His scaled features were set in an expression of barely controlled anger. "Human vessel, you are in violation of Covenant restrictions on military technology. Power down your systems immediately and prepare to be boarded for inspection." Alina smiled, an expression that was entirely human and therefore completely unreadable to the alien commander. "This is Commander Alina Vasquez of the Terran vessel. Nemesis. I'm afraid I can't comply with your request. This ship is operating under emergency protocols." The Vorthok's expression darkened. "There is no emergency protocol that supersedes Covenant restrictions. You will power down immediately or face the consequences." "AEGIS," Elena said, cutting the transmission. "Show me what those consequences look like." The AI's tactical analysis appeared on the surrounding displays, breaking down the alien fleet's capabilities with ruthless precision. The enemy vessels were well armed by galactic standards, but they were designed for policing actions against civilian targets and minor military vessels. None of them had been built to face a fully operational human dreadnought from the pre-era. "Their weapons can't penetrate our primary armor," AEGIS explained. "Their fastest ship can achieve 60% of our maximum velocity. Their most powerful reactor generates 1/10 the energy output of our auxiliary power systems. Commander, if this were a fair fight, they would need at least 50 ships of similar class to pose a credible threat." Alina felt a surge of pride in human engineering, followed immediately by a darker realization. If the Nemesis was so superior to modern alien vessels, what did that say about the rest of humanity's hidden military potential? How many other ships were buried in asteroids, waiting for someone to wake them up? "Incoming transmission," Sarah Kim reported from the Windfall, which was maintaining a safe distance from the confrontation. "It's on a secured human military frequency. Someone's trying to reach you directly." The new transmission bypassed the standard communication protocols entirely, appearing directly on Elena's neural interface. The voice that spoke to her was elderly but commanding, carrying the unmistakable authority of a high-ranking military. "Officer, Commander Vasquez, this is Admiral Harrison Cole, Terran Deep Space Command. I'm speaking to you from a secure location, and I need you to listen carefully. The ship you've awakened was hidden for good reasons, but those reasons are no longer valid. The galactic balance of power is shifting, and humanity needs every advantage we can get." Elena's mind raced. Terran Deep Space Command was supposed to be a historical organization, disbanded after the Covenant was signed. If Admiral Cole was real, it meant humanity's military leadership had never truly surrendered their capabilities. "The Zephyrian Empire is planning a massive expansion into human territory," the Admiral continued. "Our intelligence networks have confirmed that they intend to reduce humanity to a client species within the next 5 years. The Galactic Council has already agreed to look the other way in exchange for economic concessions. The only thing that can stop them is a demonstration of human military capability that makes the cost of aggression too high to bear." Alina looked at the tactical display where the alien fleet was moving into attack position. 12 ships against 1, but she was beginning to understand that the numbers didn't matter. The Nemesis represented something more than military hardware. It represented humanity's refusal to accept permanent subjugation. AEGIS she said aloud. Initiate combat protocols. Full defensive barriers. All weapons to ready status. Let's show them what human engineering looks like when it's not constrained by treaties. The transformation was immediate and spectacular. The ship's black hull began to gleam with energy as defensive barriers snapped into place around the massive vessel. Weapon ports opened like the eyes of a predator, revealing arrays of destruction that belonged to an entirely different era of warfare. The Nemesis didn't just look dangerous, it looked inevitable. The alien fleet opened fire first, streams of plasma and kinetic projectiles converging on the human dreadnought. Alina watched through the ship's sensors as the incoming fire struck her defensive barriers and simply vanished, absorbed by energy fields that operated on principles the rest of the galaxy had never mastered. Their weapons are having no effect. AEG-IS reported with something that sounded like amusement. Shall I return fire, Commander? Alina hesitated for a moment, knowing that her next decision would reshape humanity's relationship with the galaxy forever. Then she thought about the human colonies that had been abandoned to pirates because Earth was too weak to defend them. She thought about the trade routes that had been seized by alien powers, because humanity couldn't project force beyond its own systems. She thought about a species that had once reached for the stars, only to be told they could only touch them. With alien permission, target their weapons and engines, Alina ordered. Disable them, but don't destroy them. I want survivors to carry word back to their superiors. What happened next defied everything the galaxy thought it knew about human military capability. The Nemesis unleashed a coordinated barrage that struck all 12 alien vessels simultaneously. The weapons weren't the crude missiles and energy beams used by modern military forces. They were precision instruments of war that could target specific components of enemy ships from impossible ranges. The Galactic Council cruisers found their weapon systems surgically removed by beams of coherent energy that carved through their hulls like light through water. The Zephyrian warships watched their engines simply cease to function as their control systems were overwhelmed by electronic warfare techniques that shouldn't have existed. In less than 3 minutes, an entire enforcement fleet had been reduced to helpless debris, not destroyed, but completely neutralized by technology that operated on principles the rest of the galaxy couldn't understand. Alina opened a communication, channeled to the disabled alien fleet. This is Commander Vasquez. Your vessels are disabled, but intact. I'm going to give you a message to carry back to your superiors, and I suggest you deliver it exactly as I give it to you. In less than 3 minutes, an entire enforcement fleet had been reduced to helpless debris, not destroyed, but completely neutralized by technology that operated on principles the rest of the galaxy couldn't understand. Alina opened a communication, channeled to the disabled alien fleet. This is Commander Vasquez. Your vessels are disabled, but intact. I'm going to give you a message to carry back to your superiors, and I suggest you deliver it exactly as I give it to you. The Vorthok commander's face appeared on screen again, but his expression of anger had been replaced by something closer to terror. Behind him, Alina could see alien crew members frantically trying to restore their ship's systems. Tell the Galactic Council and the Zephyrian Empire that the Covenant of Worlds was a temporary arrangement, Alina continued. Humanity accepted those restrictions when we chose peace over conquest. But if you mistake our restraint for weakness, if you push us too far, you'll discover that we never actually forgot how to fight. We just chose not to. She gestured to the tactical display where the Nemesis was systematically scanning the disabled alien vessels. This ship is 200 years old. It represents human military technology from an era when we were still learning how to build weapons of war. I'll let you imagine what our current capabilities might look like. The transmission ended, leaving Alina alone with her thoughts and the awesome responsibility of what she had just unleashed. Through the bridge's viewing ports, she could see the alien ships beginning to limp away, their crews undoubtedly composing reports that would send shockwaves through every government in the galaxy. "Commander," Aegis said softly, "incoming transmission." From Admiral Cole, the elderly officer's face appeared on screen, and Alina was surprised to see him smiling. "Outstanding work, Commander. You've just bought humanity time to prepare for what's coming. The Zephyrian expansion has been postponed indefinitely, and the Galactic Council is requesting immediate negotiations to revise certain aspects of the Covenant." Alina settled back in the command throne, feeling the weight of history settling around her shoulders. "What happens now, Admiral?" "Now we wake up the rest of the fleet," Cole replied. "The Nemesis was never meant to fight alone. There are 17 other vessels like her, hidden in asteroid fields and nebulae throughout human space. It's time to bring them home." As Alina contemplated a future where humanity would no longer need to apologize for its strength, she felt the Nemesis responding to her thoughts, its systems already plotting courses to the hidden locations where humanity's true fleet lay waiting. The galaxy was about to discover that some chains, once broken, could never be forged again. The age of human restraint was ending. The age of human resurgence had begun. Asterisk,